Current protests, which started in late December, were triggered by a sharp fall in Iranian currency in the international market, and that has happened in the wake of the European countries reimposing, those international sanctions that had been lifted in 2018, the snapback. And but the current protests, we have to look at them in a larger context, starting with 2018, when the US President Donald Trump withdrew from the JCPOA. It was a unilateral withdrawal and reimposed comprehensive sanctions on the banking sector and basically aimed at reducing Iranian oil exports to zero. And that created a lot of economic uncertainty, and we saw widespread protests in 2018. And then that was followed by Mahsa Amini protests 4 years later, which were more focused on cultural and political freedoms, especially women demanding, asserting their agency and protesting against the mandatory hijab. Now, what has really happened in last 8 years or so is that there is this growing consensus in the Iranian society, among the different sections of Iranian society, about discontent against the status quo. There is greater demand for change in how leadership conducts its domestic politics and relations with others, especially America. The Iranian people are no longer sort of willing to pay the price for this, what has been a very long struggle between Islamic Republic and the United States. And what we see in these protests, in the current round of protests, is the very radical tone of political change, and also the radicalized nature of protest. There is growing violence, and that's a marked change from what has been the tradition of largely peaceful and civil disobedience in Iranian mass mobilizations.